Well, there's been so much noise this week about the recently launched 2018 range of Apple MacBook Pros, specifically around the throttling in the i9 product. So I thought we'd actually have a look at some of the real world performance and how it actually compares against the 2017 units and perhaps also against some of the Microsoft units that I've got kicking about. So if we look at this one in particular, this is a 2018 2.9 gigahertz i9 with 32 gig of RAM in it. It does have that firmware fix that Apple recently published installed, but one of the videos I'm going to take you through will show you a simple video conversion between one of my travel videos actually, but what it will do is it will show you the performance pre-patch and post-patch. So let's look at that one to start, and you can see the effect it's had. So what we have in this video is a conversion of a travel video. On the bottom right hand side you'll see the conversion on the pre-patch 2018 unit, and on the main window you'll see the conversion of the post-patch unit. So after the patch, that process took 9 minutes and 36 seconds. So pre-patched, let's have a look at the performance there. It took 11 minutes and 8 seconds, so there is quite an improvement between just patching that particular unit. We can also have a look and see what the performance comparison is like between the 2017 MacBook Pro and the 2018, just converting the same video. That's essentially what's showing in this component here. So the older unit is in the bottom right hand side, and the newer unit is in the main screen. There you go, so same 9 minute 34. For the newer unit. Let's have a look at the 2017. There you go. And the 2017 took 12 minutes and 35 seconds, just on the one relatively small video. So the speed improvement's actually quite impressive. It's quite an impressive step up from the 2017 unit. Now this last video, I'm just putting in here just for interest really. This is the same conversion but being carried out on the 2018 MacBook Pro and the latest Microsoft Surface Book 2, which is the i7. I know the chip in the Surface Book 2 isn't anything like the same sort of performance in the MacBook Pro, but let's have a look and see exactly how much. There you go, there's our 9 minute 34. So let's see how long the Surface Book 2 takes to finish this video off. And there you go, 23 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, I know it's not really a fair comparison. They are very different units in terms of specs, and they're also, arguably got different purposes, but it does give you an idea of exactly how fast these i9 units are. There are a few other benchmarks that are worth looking at. I mean, the most surprising one for me, for example, is the disk speed test. Let's have a look at that. Some of the figures we're seeing on this are pretty phenomenal for a laptop. I mean, they're not far off my iMac Pro. And just to be clear, by the way, I'm recording with QuickTime, which seems to have a bit of an impact on this, probably 5 to 10% slower than it should be, but even so, they're phenomenal figures. Yeah, I mean, some of the other things that are worth looking at, I mean, if we look at the Geekbench figures here, for example, they're pretty high. I mean, they're so much higher than my 2017 unit, and the other one that's worth looking at as well, by the way, is what happens when I run Windows 10 in Parallels. So you can see that basically there is a bit of a drop. The one on the right is Windows 10 in Parallels with all 6 cores allocated to that virtual machine. As you can see, it's still very, very quick, and I'll show you some of the real world performances in that shortly. Now, the other oddity I noticed was around my Wi-Fi performance. So if we look at an internet Wi-Fi test, for example, let's look at this. No, that's not right. Let me stop that. That's obviously on my wired connection. Bear with me a moment. Just unplugged it. Let's try that again. What I'm seeing is quite a bit better connectivity over Wi-Fi. Now, I don't know whether that's just an oddity of this unit, but I did check on my 2017. My 2017 unit, I seem to be peaking at around the 350 megabits point for Wi-Fi on exactly the same desk and exactly the same position, but I'm seeing far higher results on this 2018 unit. So I don't know what they've changed there, if anything. I've also verified that against my transfer speeds to things like my Synology NAS, for example, and it certainly seems to be bearing through. So I'm not sure if anything has changed with the Wi-Fi, but it's certainly faster for me. Wired, if you're interested, by the way, because this is an awesome internet connection. It's hyper optic, 1 gig up and down. There's stuff going on at the moment, so it won't peak at its best. Anyway, let's have a look at some of the real world performance, and I'll show you what it looks like to actually use this machine. This is freshly rebooted, so let's have a look at things like the start time for Office apps. I mean, for some reason Office on Mac OS has always felt a little bit sluggish to start for me, certainly compared to my Windows setup. So let's have a look at that, for example. There's Excel. Yeah, they certainly don't feel as fast as my Windows units, even in parallels, but even so, it is totally usable. So let's have a look at probably my main usage of this, which is around virtualization. So I've got my normal Windows 10 machine set up here. Let's look at the start times and the operation times for that. Ironically, that felt like it had taken longer than I've seen it take before, but that could be just because I'm recording the screen with QuickTime. So this is my Windows 10 environment, so let's have a look. You'll see what spec I've got on it, or what I've got assigned to it. So I've got, let's have a look, all 12 core, well 6 cores, but hyper-threaded applied to this machine at the moment, 16 gig of RAM, and I can't remember how much storage, but let's have a look at the performance. We'll fire up some of the apps, you can have a look and see what that's like. You see what I mean? It does seem a lot faster in Office than some of the other stuff. So where this really comes into its own is around things like taking snapshots. So let's have a look at that. Can't type. There you go, took no time at all. And same for the restoration as well. Does it feel faster than the 2017? For snapshotting, it absolutely does, but you know, I don't know if it's fast enough for me to actually care. Let's try reverting back to that snapshot, for example. There we go, and it's done. Now the one thing I just can't get away from on this is how hot the machine runs. So let me show you. Let's pull up this Intel. There you go, you see its temperature at the moment. It's up there at 78, 80 degrees. That's the biggest complaint I have about this machine. It runs so hot. Now this is the i9 one, and I know they've issued the patch around the throttling that they were experiencing, and it has been a lot better since that throttle fix has been put in, but it runs so hot. Now fortunately the fans are not particularly noisy, but if we have a look at them at the moment, you'll see, for example, I don't know if you can see up in the top there, but they are running pretty much flat out at their maximum rate at the moment, even at 70 degrees. Now I can hear them. I don't know if I'll get picked up on the microphone here. They're not loud, to be honest. If they were louder but the cooling was better, I'd find that far more acceptable, to be honest. I don't know what real world effect it has on the machine, but you know, if you touch certain parts of the screen, so for example certain parts of the unit, like the bar above the touch bar, for example, it's really hot to the touch. Now my 2017 used to get warm as well, but not anything like the temperature of this one. And also I don't remember the fans ramping up quite as much, but it could be that you know, that's just the nature of these chips. I don't really have anything to compare it to. But so what's my feel about this machine? Is it a step up from the 2017? Well, yes, it is. Is it as big a step up as I expected? No, no, it isn't. It's not as much faster as I expected. The heat is concerning me a little bit. Um, but yeah, other than that, and of course the cost of it. I mean, other than that, it is obviously a faster machine. I'm just not sure it was worth the investment based over the 2017 unit. But also, I've got some minor concerns about the reliability based on the temperatures and, of course, all the noise around the throttling issue. But let's see what they come out with, and we'll see how it cracks on from now. But I'm going to be using this as my daily driver now, so if I get any additional feedback, I'll certainly come back with it.